any point for a very long time. So I think for that reason, you can't really just look at the odds and say this is a gimme for forZe. forZe are going to be the ones who are more nervous in the situation. Imperial are the ones that people have been doubting more than forZe have. So they've got something to prove, and I think even if they've got the skills, translating them is a whole different game.
Most certainly so, man. And holding their nerve while they translate those skills is another question, right? There's no doubt in my mind that forZe, you're thinking yourself, that grain of doubt has been sowed. And with Bolts finding the frag grenade kill, that's just a bombardment into this B site. kenzie is going to be tagged to 12 health, so he finds nothing. Dude,
Jesus, what is this?
They find nothing.
Oh man, that came in. Tactics, the frags, it all coalesced within seconds, man. That was perfect read on the setup. Always nice to have a nice demo round to start the game off. That's a hot start in the pistol.
Okay.
Not fun to get called out like that.
Nades over the top, perfect. And that's how kenzie goes down to 12 HP. Vinny comes in quick, couple of headshots with it.
There's layers to that too. The fact that they set up those nades, the 2 nades instead of 3, and they had 3 in the pack coming out of short tunnel at the exact same moment.
That one's got a bit of a message attached to it, dude. Incredibly impressive pace to the pistol, and now we just look to convert it.
Yeah, we'll have Imperial doing a lot of searching on the map. They've been defaulting a ton, which translates well over to overpass. Can feel like quite a vast map. The only idea here for forZe is kenzie doing a lap. Ooh, through the top of bathrooms in Norway. Hits a heater.
Oh, huge though. Bolts trades back as he falls away. He gets him with the wall bang.
Wow, that's enormous. Now there is still Shelfie inside of short water, waiting. If they're careful, this shouldn't be a problem, but he does have this deagle up close.
He's not going to find anything with it. Fallen and the MAC-10 get the better of him. Jerry's going to try to throw his upgraded pistol to close proximity as well. FNX and Fallen starting to look up top. That's where kenzie's deagle's looking to be primed. These threats all across the map. And Fallen's going to survive another test here. Bolt's still just lingering down in the water and confirming that there is at least one more CT down here. So yes, everybody else runs at that A site where the scout is in position. Flash and smoke force Zordy back, and with that he's going to have to concede it. So nice attempt here from forZe, serving us up a reminder that, you know, despite preparation and game plan, forZe still have incredible individual mechanics and talent and potential.
Yeah, it's one of those teams where there's just no real bottom fraggers, and even Jerry is good for like a huge clutch in a lot of the maps that we've watched already. So now in this round, I mean, they only have these 2 guns to take to try it again, but Imperial, I mean, they moved at a really good pace. The refrags were good, the default is good so far. I think they'll be quite happy with themselves, and they only lost Vinny at the end of the day.
Vinny, man, I think somebody else who's kind of like, if we sit here and talk about how Bolts was always on the fringe, Vinny on Furia, not a fringe team, but kind of a player on the fringe of that roster. You know, somebody who maybe at times doesn't get all the credit he deserves or was never really set up to be a star outside of Inferno.
Vinferno.
Everybody knows that's where Vinny owns. So this is the one thing I like about this Imperial team, right? And especially now with MIBR being eliminated, there's only Furia representing Brazil at the major. And Furia are the best of Brazil.
Yeah.
But if you guys go back and watch that, or read that rather, interview with Fallen, HLTV did an excellent job of kind of extracting his mentality that you play for more than just winning tournaments. They want to lift trophies, that's for certain. But they also want to represent Brazil. Representation is important. And Fallen tries to really hammer that home. Be awesome to see these guys kind of come out from the shadows and be that second Brazilian roster in the top 16. But for now, it's an empty B bomb site, completely clear for the taking. So an easy third one. Those saved weapons from forZe not really able to position themselves for the impact. T-side very passive on the playground push. And for that reason, easy 3-0.
Yeah, you know, I had MIBR to win that last map, but that last series. But of course, BNE just showed so much heart, so much strength, and they leave Imperial as the one Brazilian team in the challenger stage to potentially make it through. And yeah, they're trying to carry that mantle for the entire country, of course. The amount of fans behind this roster is just unparalleled. Especially being able to have FNX back in the server is, even, I mean, just for me, like, I just loved watching FNX play so much back in the day. I just had this shower thought where I was just like, man, getting to watch him play on train one more time would be so sick.
Right, that nostalgia hit.
That would be a great show match idea, actually, for the major. If they could run it back on train.
I think the thing is too, right? Whether you're a doubter of Imperial, and there are a lot of doubters of this project, because there are certain things that forZe has to face as being an unexperienced team, right? There's going to be doubters in that regard, the unknowns, the unproven. But Imperial also face just as much doubt for opposite reasons, other end of the spectrum. These are the has-beens. And when you see them kind of get invested in, it makes you question whether they deserve it or not. Why not invest in the future? Why look back? Well, they are 2 maps away from making a top 16 run at a major.
Yeah, it's enormous. Getting to the 2-2, getting to the legend stage, that says it all. It doesn't matter what anybody thinks. So here's Jerry with an off angle inside the bathrooms. He'll catch for off guard. It's a good fight for him, but Vinny finds the trade.
Although it costly.
Yeah, they win and chill, and they've established here. They're worried, of course, about the stairs presence, and you can see by the conclave of T's, they are aware of stairs, keeping it in mind, not dealing with it right now, but they made such a good pace already. There's still a full minute left.
FNX here, his patience. 2 CTs split up. He gets dinked down to an under 10 HP, just like Vinny.
It actually reopened stairs, so thoughts changed. They were potentially going to have him scale up and maybe hit the B site, but now Zorti is guessing what their next move is going to be.
Feels like it's going to have to be Bolts or Fallen to take that next one, try and open up a route somewhere.
It looks like the Lurk might get punished. They actually do have time to pull this off. Shelfie's walking. Oh, no, he'll be the one to find a victim, and that's Vinny down.
Fallen here's that retreat as well. Quick sprint from Shelfie all the way to the other end of bathrooms. Fallen's going to clear close corners, 20 seconds.
Yeah, suddenly it's becoming a little slow. They've got to actually pick up the pace, and FNX is low.
Just get the better of Shelfie, though. CT's not yet supporting him, and that nade is huge. All of a sudden, the health advantage doesn't seem to be much of an issue.
Okay.
Fallen surviving further damage, and Bolt's still on 100 HP. Bomb's going to be planted on truck. No utility to stop that. Zorti doesn't even have any vision here. He's just going to try to desperately jump up, and it looks like a save. With that kill, with that frag and that fire on the dice box, we have Imperial push past the fact that FNX is tagged, that Vinny was low, and that Fallen almost died on that entry as well. 4-0 start for this T side.
Every single piece of utility came into factor there. Even the smoke and CT, of course, if Shelfie had to be back dice for that play to work out as well as it did, but they had the perfect flash, and I actually love that they used the HE first as well. With the amount of time left on the clock, Shelfie didn't have a way to move from his position. So the late molly, all that extra pressure, he tried to wait in it, but there really was nothing for him to do when they decided that's where his rotation would be back to. That is a huge recovery. We almost got into time pressure, but that's because of the late push into bathrooms that killed Vinny in the first place from Shelfie. If not, they were actually in a decent spot. And look at the amount of money that Imperial have already stacked up. Bolts and FNX, nearly 8K apiece.
Backbone being established nice and early, and already into the connector boost. Door gets blown off the hinges. Extinguished is the incendiary. Oh, but
do it again.
An airstrike destined for Kenzie.
Oh, man, but there was someone propping him up, and Norvi has also been hit down to just 16 HP.
Yo, these calls from Fallen out of the gate are so good.
And it's unconfirmed damage, but they know that they wouldn't have hit just one person. So Shalfie would pick one off, and he's inside the stairs. So now they separate his rotation back with that molly. Encouraged to come forward, but is this a trap?
Ooh, the flash was there. Vinny almost a victim of it, but he'll find Shalfia's fur. Gets hyper-aggressive into the A site. Opens a huge gap in the defense for that bomb to come over, and so it's an immediate save call from forZe. They know they have to concede this. If Norvi can hang on to the op with this M4, okay. You got something to work with in the next, but Imperial. We see the same nade stack in the pistol. 4 rounds later, Imperial again, 5 versus 4 off of that.
Yeah.
And that was like multiple boosts clearly from forZe. They were trying to stack one up inside of connector. They tried to do it inside of the B site for the 5 players preoccupied. And Imperial just dodged the threat. Hit him with the bunker busters.
They are moving super well right now, and it's so annoying for forZe that they get hit by the double nades because, of course, these are going to be random rounds that Imperial are going to throw them in. Right now, they're just picking all the right spots. That pistol round, that one could have been straight off a demo. This late one, just thinking forZe, okay, you give them a few rounds, see, maybe they'll try it again, and they hit right. And, you know, part of that is Norway here saving this op on 16 health. Is also a victim of that much damage. Imperial instantly on fire. And they worked hard and slowly for these rounds and actually came back out of a few tricky spots. I mean, they're kind of hitting a bunch of the metrics that are, you know, making you believe that they are just playing the best CS that you could ask at the moment.
So a tactical pause called. First one from forZe. Probably feeling red at the moment. Seeing red as well. Not able to get that sweet revenge just yet. CT side yet to get started. 2 nades just perfect. Spur obviously creeping up outside of the bathrooms.
Yeah, they're catching on the late push, as we saw that late push to the back of stairs. FNX was sitting in the corner. Vinny here calls the rotation out. The utility has been really good. forZe are making sure to continuously play some of these spots. I mean, they don't want to give up everything. This is a half buy. They're gonna have a, it's pretty powerful because they have the op behind it and a couple of kits here. But outside of that, only a single rifle on Norvi.
Push through that smoke pretty quick. Vinny looking to establish presence.
Yeah, they've just dominated short water over and over again.
Vinny spotted though. Doesn't want to stick around. Could be pushed from connector. Although Fallen is coming with FNX. Ooh, that Molotov problematic if it weren't for the smoke. Still, information being exchanged, setups being read, and Vinny sniffing out an opening here through Monster. Sure enough, he has found this, and it's only Jerry watching with the MP9. There's 2 MP9s in this close-up op.
No one
with a
headshot.
second player, this is going to be the walkout from Imperial. A clean walk into this site, but here comes Sorting with a missed shot, dives down into the water, and Vinny's got to be cautious as he extends into the crosshair, but he will get the kill. The only answer so far from the CT side is Kenzie.
Damn.
He stops a player that lurk up on party, a 6th from Imperial.
That was great too. I mean, all we saw there was a default stairs control, and then as soon as that molly got smoked out, because they could have run for it, they had an idea. Maybe they're too stuck in the stairs, and they used that smoke against them, right? It cuts off their rotation out into short to help B, and they pendulum around through spawn. Vinny takes the lead. Entry's extremely sharp, and another really kind of composed round from Imperial. But they're putting the puzzle pieces together consistently.
Calling's looking really smooth, you know? And what's really cool about this one is obviously Vinny, he gets jump spotted with the addition of that connector information. He's the person who just slides out through Monster, and Fallen recently giving praise to Vinny and to Bolts for being these kinds of secondary callers within this Imperial system. Says that it allows for Fallen to just kind of focus on the crosshair of the op a little more. So if Vinny's finding these openings, calling them, and everybody follows right suit, I mean, Imperial, that's smooth as can be at the moment. We just kind of sit here waiting for forZe to get this ball rolling because, of course, this is a team that qualified through the RMR with a near flawless run. 2-0 out of the gate in the first stage, and third chance, man. Third and final chance, and they're 6 rounds down at the start of the series. Grenades didn't hit their mark this time around.
But it's the audio. You know, it's just the notion that, okay, you keep trying that. We're not actually done. We're going to keep throwing those over and over again. Zordy's going to eat the full brunt of this flash, and he's really playing by himself here. He can fall back, but there is a timing inside of the bathroom, so it's really unsafe for him. His rotation will get harder. More stairs pressure comes down, and Kenzie wins his duel. Blind, but pulls it off.
Pretty critical headshot.
And just like we saw in the last round, now the rotation up the stairs has been hindered. They're being babysat right now.
Yeah, Bolts, he smokes off connector door just in case there's any kind of assist. Vinny, oh, nice shot into Jerry, that answer.
Jesus.
As he snapped it up, hunting the player down beneath instead, and it's the perfect support.
Oh, this is an unreal level right now. This is from the 4v5. Well, we're crossing that critical moment, and Shelfie wants to get back to the site. He's too uncomfortable. And Imperial now, they've got the keys. They've just got to turn him.
Deep into the monster. Lots of players coming at him, but he does have this little bit of sanctuary here. He's tied. It goes unchecked, but Bolts with the quick trade and Fallen the quicker cover. Imperial, 7 terrorist rounds straight, and every issue that forZe try to throw at them, it seems like Imperial have this instant response.
Yeah, there was a disconnect there with forZe because they actually did have the op out towards A, but it was alone. It was there on long. It was trying to take a fight. And Zorti, in his rotation back, they didn't even have anyone inside of bathrooms, no one spotting balloons, no one covering the top of stairs at all. So he couldn't even come to assist anybody rotating out of stairs. And that left 2 players down there in a position where they don't have great fights. The longer that the round goes on, they grow more and more uncomfortable. FNX has set up a tent in the back of the stairs every single round now, so they don't feel good about where they can go. And then when we see this pressure actually mounts too high, now there was a chance for them to trade out at least 1 or 2 players. And I gotta say, it's not just the tactics. They are coming ahead in the kill matrix between all of these different players and basically all the head-to-heads. Imperial are fragging harder than forZe right now, which is one of the things that I didn't think was going to be possible. So at the very minimum, forZe, they're a team with no bottom fraggers, a roster that has been able to keep up with some of the strongest, highest individual levels in the game.
Oh, they're going to have to dig deep. Good flash to push Bolts back. That's going to be him low and disappears through the smoke into the night. All the way back towards T-spawn. Connector this time, 0 contest from forZe. Imperial, they're going to grab this one for absolutely free. The A-site setup, not even bathrooms, not even long. It is inside that site that everybody's playing here from forZe, and that's a turtled defense.
Oh yeah, it's a turtle defense on low grenades. They come onto this on a slightly mixed buy, but just almost out of utility here. A single smoke on Shelfie. Oh, 1 of 2, excuse me. Shelfie still has his, at the very least.
Fallen gonna feign a little presence here. Op staying trained on him. That 35-second mark, as said, 1 smoke.
There's so much pressure on the site hold now. They've given up so much space to Imperial, even though it looks like they haven't done anything just yet. They can go for this full exec on A. The rotations are very slow. As soon as that CT smoke comes in, Bank gets mollied. It just comes down to Zorti and Kenzie right here, right now.
They got to hit the shots. Closest rotate will be Shelfie. That secondary op trying to run, trying to sprint in 15 seconds. They're getting dangerously close to the site, and it's an insta-kill from Fallen. Kenzie in the corner, kills the front runner. 8 seconds left as bomb gets dropped. Kenzie's got the kills and a chance at the ace, but still they fight on with no time. Flanked. If it's not Kenzie, then it's not forZe.
Wow.
Imperial no longer flawless.
Well, at least we get a glimmer of the X factor. Okay, that's a huge play from Kenzie in a position where they had a very uninspired setup, and it came down to him holding an angle that's favored for 1 fight. But as soon as you get that first one, you've got nowhere else to go. He had to make sure it was instant first bullet headshot after the next, and if he didn't get all 3 kills, that bomb would have gone down, and it would have been right back to Imperial winning the round. So enormous, but they have to ride that momentum, and they have to come through with better ideas.
Yes.
Oh! God, they threw a flash. Kenzie turned from it, and he was just rifling over top of the smoke where you normally put an op up.
To take down the guy who just gave the star-studded performance. He's not alone here. forZe still flirting with 3 CTs around this A site. 2 of them just locked into the upper bathrooms. But, I mean, for all Imperial, no, just walk right by it.
Yeah. The off from Zorti is trying to support. He doesn't really need to go long, though, with the 2 players in bathrooms, so he's going to stick around. But look at this. They have no idea. This is a furious strat, walking up bathrooms off that first kill. Gotta believe Vinny took part in this, but there's still 2 players on A.
Oh, Vinny gets stuck between those 2 CTs. Bomb still planted. Fur, unsuspecting, as Jerry comes in with a critical kill, but Boltsy's got this flank, and even that gets covered. He's dinked, but still able to catch Jerry. Shelfie incredibly close to sight. Norvi already rotating up, and these last 2 CTs need to be the difference, or else it's forZe with the 1-off. And Imperial with the 3 back in bathrooms. Oh, but Fallen gets caught as Shelfie goes over top of it. Norvy's going to try to maybe add a little pressure to the situation. FNX, great coverage. It's low HP on the final T, and Norvy's sticking this bomb. Bolts ice cold as he sees the back of Norvy's legs and the back of forZe's only round win. 8 to the board for Imperial.
Man, what are we watching right now? That's actually insane. They played that to perfection. And there was one mistake there from kenzie. It gets punished, and they pull the perfect call of walking outside the bathrooms. I guarantee you they follow the frag right there. The 2 players in a lot of these positions, the couple of CTs that are working together are almost always lost. They don't realize they're being surrounded. They're not holding extraneous pressure on their positions. Instead, they're sitting inside of them and waiting for the action to come to them. And Imperial know exactly what to do with that space. They demonstrated that a number of times now.
Oh, the Deagle's not going to find a thing. Fur, insta headshot. CZ starts to push up. Oh, and he gets it in the back. FNX. See ya later, Shelfie. Thought Jerry was going to give cover. Oh, but kenzie still got some kind of an answer here. Drops the bomb carrier. Could make things interesting.
Yeah, that'll shake him up a little bit.
But interesting, not necessarily competitive. kenzie continues closer. And Bolt is going to have support in a second. Vinny coming around the fountain.
Yeah, they've got both his exit and his fall back. And oh my God,
kenzie
letting it ring off.
Not going to expect that 3rd piece in Vinny to trade so closely. And now Norvy, that would have been heard by the player at the top of con. So FNX can lock this in. Bomb can just sprint over towards the A site. And Imperial will be locking in a 9th round, barring some theatrics from Norvy. But nope, he's going to just move that M4 forward. And Imperial with a world-class T-side right now on overpass.
There's actually nothing that you can say that they're doing badly. They're executing things so well. We're seeing pressure throughout each of the moments of these rounds. They're making good time. They got close to time trouble, but never exactly. kenzie's one heroic hold is the reason they were able to win a single round so far. And if not for that, the rest of the round, you would give it to Imperial overall. They've been isolating the engagements. They've been reading the map really well. They've been finding the CT setups, and they're targeting and showing us that by picking all the right rounds to nade the boost, to take over short water. We're almost never seeing a dry engagement. I mean, seriously, the utility has been the most impressive part.
FNX back in the server.
It's crazy to see that.
Yeah, isn't it?
Oh, we haven't got the chance to cast him, and man, I don't even know if I did, even way back then. Like I might have, but it was so long ago that he was playing in those majors, and
you weren't casting them.
I might have not been. I don't even know. Like it was, I wasn't casting those majors. Yeah.
All right, man. 8-round lead from Imperial. We're just sitting here waiting for forZe to show us something, and instead, Imperial, are they just going to come out with an incredibly fast B hit after all this time, all this meticulous play towards connector and A, and it's just deep in B already. Norvy has not been spotted, but Vinny finds him over the side of that smoke. Shelfie with the only kill so far. Zordy, he's going to try to get the op in heaven, but bomb's already planted by the time he finds any kind of an angle, and he doesn't find any kind of a fight. Bolts surrounded, and yet still he'll gun down kenzie, turns it back on Monster, and loses the fight to Jerry. The op in Zordy trying to apply pressure. Next to him was Shelfie. Low HP for 2 of the 3, and the Opera connects with the wall bang.
Yeah, retake could be on. I mean, time is coming down.
He starts to back away as Jerry comes up close on short. There's Fallen with further op impact, and Imperial with further round wins.
Damn. And all of a sudden, they go slow, they go slow, they go slow. Monster rush. They've done a walkout monster. They've done a walkout over banana on the outside of bathrooms. A full exec while running is something they've thrown in the 11th round. I mean, Fallen is calling fluidly at the moment. It's too hard to read. I mean, at this point, forZe have been fully conditioned. Like, it's too hard for them to figure out like what the next move will be and when every single thing has worked.
Just going to have to try and hang on for dear life at this point. forZe 5 rounds best case scenario, and that would include this one with 2 Deagles and an MP9.
They've had an off for a high percentage of rounds, but not any impact really with it.
Zordy's position set on fire as he falls back into the connector. Maybe him and kenzie can combine for something. Got a triple boost as well, about to look over top of Monster. Bolts is playing that position very tucked, so unlikely that Shalfie finds anything. Connector really going to be that key piece of the map. Unless...
They avoided the op once again.
and the last time I feel like we see Imperial walk all the way up to A, it's when there is that upper bathroom setup.
They're making sure to get their footprints on every piece of grass on the map. Like, they are exploring so well, and it's just, yeah, the calls are so perfect. Another stair stack, totally avoided. Rotations might be slow again. They're playing blind on this. No info on A, haven't seen a T. Now they start to move in. Oh, Zordy finds one, and Kenzie pairs it with a Deagle.
That's the kind of thing they need, and more damage.
Wow.
Kenzie again. Remember, he was the only reason forZe have a single round. Fallen gets the grenade in hand, but still recovers. Norvi point blank AK headshot, rocked. And FNX is looking to come support and find the back of Zordy. This looking like the 2v5 as Fallen gets a third kill in the mix, and Jerry needs to lead by example for forZe's most desperate second round.
He's cowering.
They don't know that he's here. The MP9 good for the first. Fallen staying scoped, and Fallen with an impactful 4K to keep this T-side rolling.
You're joking. You're joking. That was like his combat ops style. Picked up the AK, one through the eyes in the 2v5. Oh, surviving that, it's just a whole different level of mental battle right here. It was done.
Oh,
Laurie had every right to come through for that trade. He was so close to getting the kill.
Fallen right back at it with the 2 op kills after the fact.
What a win. Man, that was just on the eco too. The Kenzie Deagles are actually unbelievable.
FNX just offering us a little something as he comes out of the top of Connector. Really cool to see this individual level from Fallen. 13-3. Again, him himself praising both Bolt and Vinny for offering communication and calling.
Yeah, and I mean, the only way you're sleeping on forZe at this point is you literally haven't watched the major yet. They have been taking scalps.
Took a map off of Vitality in a 2-0 game. Took a map off of Outsiders.
Yeah, they just nearly 3-0'd. That was pretty much the story with them. But here we are in the 2-2, and things are getting more tense.
Nice wallbang here from Zordy.
Much needed.
See if they can at least get that second round win. They've been fighting desperately for it. They fall away. CT's scrambling up. Imperial, they got plenty of time. See if they decide to commit to this.
They're losing positions to throw their nades, and they are now entering, so they can try to use the headshot angles and attack this way.
Zordy sits and waits.
We know they haven't been hasty. They don't like to move when they're not comfortable. And it's worked to their benefit. Oh, they're shocking.
Gives it a jiggle, then gives it a swing,
oh, man.
And hits the head of Kenzie. Zordy fully flashed, Fur blinded in the process. There comes Jerry quickly onto the truck. Vinny, immediate trade, and Zordy has to give up all that bank control. Shalfie a singular kill as Vinny takes to the helm of this hit.
Another
42 health left. Oh! With 7 seconds, he hits that off shot. Vinny needs the bomb plant. They could just try to rush him down, but he comes off of the plant, not with enough time to answer a second round at least for forZe.
So many times we're seeing the op miss an opportunity, then the other rifler in the site just gets one bulleted by somebody swinging wide, and Imperial are keeping a good inventory of where people are, but forZe survived this one. That's huge. I mean, they do it all the way from the site. If we look at the mini-map, all the action going down here constantly is a very worrying side for forZe. Of course, you just have to look at the top of the scoreboard to understand how that's played out, but now we've got op impact here from Zordy, and at the very least, he did a good job of falling back and staying alive for a long time after getting this kill. This alone sucked time off the clock, and Imperial had to really have pressure on them to get in there, get the bomb down, and first of all, find the bomb. You know, he just goes fishing with the one shot through the smoke, but yeah, like even with that, there's just a chasm right now between forZe and Imperial for so many other reasons. So give him that round. That's not enough. forZe absolutely need to get these two just for the dignity for themselves. And the thing is about them is they've had so many insane starts to games. This is not what we're used to seeing with the forZe games. Even if they've lost, it's with 7-0 starts. We had an 11-0 start on that Dust 2 match versus Outsiders. And they're just not that scary right now.
Something in the water, man. Bolt's the beast. Fall in the opener.
Whoa, what's that? Oh, he was picking for Fallen. Fallen might have just walked into his angle.
Oh, Alfie. Easy pickup there for blindsided by it. Oh, and they don't know that they've been seen by Kenzie. Fallen cut off as the third player to push into A. Vinny's just already inside of the site, jumping around smokes, and Shalfie's going to win that fight up close. Felt like Imperial tried to cause a little bit of chaotic moments across the map, and, well, they don't pick up kills because of it. 2 versus 4. You know, we already saw Fallen pull out a miracle of a round, and this time looking even more unlikely. Bolts, he's got the bomb, and he's got a chance at the B site, seeing as Norvi is down here alone for the moment. But Bolts would have to be pretty brave to just run in here and rock Norvi.
I feel like this A setup was so much better. And again, like, another look at the mini-map. Well, is there a chance
If
that
he kills
Bolts can
Norvi,
get this
this
alone?
round's
Yeah.
alive. But he's
And
got a clear monster.
Looks like he's going to, but he doesn't. That would have been unnecessarily close, I think,
Yeah.
if, you know, if Bolts won that. forZe pull out a good round. And again, glimpse of the mini-map. Kills are coming down outside balloons, top of the stairs. Before the bathrooms action, there's more activity from the riflers peeking inside of bathrooms instead of turtling up and waiting for fights to come to them. I like this energy a lot more. Of course, also, even though they lost their first opper over on B, Shalfie traded back with that impact on the other side of the map. So 2 ops work for them there.
All good things have to come to an end.
Looks like they might set up wait for some time to see if there's a late boost and attempt to punish it.
His T side about to finish. Norvi just got tagged up. A little bit of chip damage. Oh, Bolts, he survives the op shot. 95 damage on the sniper. Not enough.
Yeah, through the concrete.
Haha, it's such a robbery. And a warning sign. Tons of grenades, at least for forZe. But also still tons of time for Imperial. This boost could be good. They're both going to go for it. Everybody pressed up close. Little jump spot. Still can't shave those shots through the wall.
Well, they just continue forward with it. That's interesting. See if forZe believe they scared them or not. But as long as they don't see anybody here at the barrels. Oh, okay, Zorti, nice. There's Fur goes down.
That'll take off some of the pressure.
I was going to say, that could have turned into a monster walkout. That's the key position you want to be clear. Besides anything close right in wood wall. But it seems like the plans remain unchanged.
Just walk it out regardless. Pack mentality here from Imperial, trying to close out this T side. Short Molotov'd off, they can focus on Monster, but Jerry, he turns his back to it. Norvi, blinded, at least able to find FNX, but that's a bomb plant here from Fallen, unless that wallbang had hit. It doesn't. 3 versus 3, final round of the half, and Norvi locked into the water as a low HP Bolts comes hunting and falls for it. Then Fallen over the sandbags with a little bit of damage, putting Vinny into the clutch with a health advantage over top of what's left, and he has been so sharp. Flashbang finds his eyes, the bomb, and dwindling time.
Oh.
It's a nice coverage here from Zorti, and forZe with a little recovery. At the end of the CT side, it's 4 rounds at the very least.
Yeah.
For them, for honor.
Absolutely. With 4, we could talk about it. You know, that's a radically different half than 12, even 12-3, 13-2. So they win in the end. They figured out some of the adjustments. They didn't get caught off in the default as much, and the ops started to come alive a lot more. We're starting to talk about Zorte more often in each of these rounds, which is really important for forZe because he has been one of the best operators in the stage so far. Bit weird to see him start, you know, like 1-7, not have any opening exchanges. But it is absolutely still the power position here for Imperial into the second half, the map pick of Imperial. I think we had a veto that was relatively predictable, which means the level will be high between these two teams.
around that could knock whatever wind is in the sails of forZe. They'd suddenly find themselves in a suffocating dead air. Contact long, falls back. Fur doesn't need to run any risks. Fallen, deep angle with the USP through bathrooms. And he too, going to give up a little bit more room here. Offer forZe some footing. And they're going to be happy to take it all across the map, in fact. Even starting to peek and pry towards Monster. A little re-aggression on long. It's where they saw their first player. And now as they go back at it, there's nothing.
Imperial are just hoping it's going to end B, so they can start to do the lap around bathrooms. They've actually made really good pace here, because forZe are setting up, but we're at 50 seconds, so we've got some things in place to try to slow this down.
CT's inside water. Barras start jumping over the barrels. Vinny going to be tucked in. Jerry, insta-kill. Kenzie right there with him. And it's a smooth entrance for forZe. FNX, 1 kill, falls back. And that quick attack from Fur on the back. They're trying to chase him into Graffiti, but FNX is all the way gone, and Fur, he even finds a bit more forward footing. He's going to just dodge the guy inside of water. Now he's with them, but the gun goes dry. Both sides, knives out, not enough. Fur going to start to ice this off, and Jerry in the clutch has FNX coming back from the left. As Fur's attacking on the right, he dives into the cover. Bomb is ticking quick, but oh my God, they win that.
I can't believe they won that. That was 3 on 5. That was 3 on 5. They got both entries, and they moved so fast that even though it was searched out all over the A site that no one was there, the rotations didn't come in right as the site hit was happening, and you thought it was going to be over. FNX slows it down a little bit, the momentum, as they try to push into CT spawn. He works hard for his first kill, and then the USPs go dry inside the pit.
Shalfie just tucked onto the water. That's what allowed for Fur to come out from short the first time. Get that easy kill on Graffiti, run forward, just dodges it all.
The post plant was so strange from forZe. They didn't even set up in that position to take over Heaven and plant for it. You know what I mean? Like, they had to come back to the site to fight it in the first place. That one was very weird. But even in a bad post plant, having a 5-on-3, it's pretty much in the bag anyways. They probably felt like this round was over, but they thought wrong.
That's incredible. Furs just sticks it to him. And you know your heart's beating when you see that knife pulled out and someone
100%.
Running right at you.
Yeah, no, I mean,
that's insanity.
It's more than just the money.
Fall into the MP9 nice and close and personal. With him in Fur, it's a solid hold on long. That's 3 immediate kills, bomb dropped, and no reason for them to give it up. In fact, reinforcements may not even be needed.
Yeah, this 1-2 punch, man.
Galil gets 1. Norvi still 75 health, but gets blindsided by FNX, who comes in to help out. And that is Imperial with a dominant start.
Yeah, with Super Dom. We're looking at 2-3 rifles on that round. Single kill. Shut down by an MP9 M4 setup on long.
Because the entire team is here for forZe, and
yeah, they got completely mauled.
Flash just no effect, essentially.
This just is not close. Damn, the contents of the rounds. Struggling to even find, like, you know, ways back into this game for forZe. Ah, maybe it's the Kenzie Deagle.
Oh, that was the missing piece.
Yeah.
Well, we know these Deags hit hard, but do they hit often enough? For now, it's Jerry down, and clean one from Fur. Imperial look for a 10-round lead and a 14-4 score over forZe on Overpass. Dude, it feels like they've been prepping for this map for decades.
Yeah, yeah. Well, this is, yeah, it's always been a home map. I mean, both Furia and all of Fallen's teams have played Overpass. I just had some of his biggest games here on this map. I'm not surprised to see it come into play for them.
Look at that. Lines them up, splatters them. Who's having a party? Brazil.
Yeah, a huge
right
party.
Now,
yeah,
Brazil.
I think this is the Brazilian storm that they've been talking about.
Oh, it finally showed up.
Well, it's this. Yeah, this is the last chance for the storm. 2-2 matchup here. MIBR already going down. Imperial trying to keep the fire going.
right now. Oh, nice, nice, nice. Got you, Jerry. Oh, and then he spams into bolts. So sick. What a round from Jerry. The double head hop into the smoke spam. You take what you can get at this point. 5 versus 4.
Miss smoke here to B. At this point, though, you might think it's a lure, just because everything from Imperial has just been screwing with their heads. You know, the one time they miss a grenade, it's suddenly looks like a warning sign instead of an invitation. But they miss their own smoke. And Fallen will say, okay, because he's the one who's holding the confidence right now. And he'll search this out on there. Stacked in the right location. Thing about overpasses, you have to, maintain some presence. It just becomes too obvious because the rotation is too long to go to the other side of the map. And I think forZe, seeing these re-smokes into Monster, they can feel that they're running into a stack. But, oh, they find that first one.
That helps. Nice clean entry. Vinny going to be blinded on these fallback. Norby, bomb carrier cut off. And with 20 seconds left, Vinny putting up a damn fight. Bomb will be planted safely behind the cover, and Fallen nowhere to be found. So this is a 5th from forZe. But remember how it all gets kicked off, right? Missed smoke towards long, and Jerry just spamming bolts through a smoke grenade.
Yeah.
It's not one of those setups that forZe will be able to lean back onto.
Yeah. But at least what we see is on this T side, really strong entry work, and that's the highest on the list of talking points for forZe when it comes to their AK players, basically, that just are so good at finding leverage in a meta that is leaning so hard towards the CT side.
Terrorists win.
Could drop 2 platitudes, but just, it was a drop in the bucket, but we'll see if it's a flash in the pan. Okay.
I'm so happy we have that. Thank you, guys. I was curious if you just really go all the way in, but look at this. Waits. And that 6th sense, man, just tingles. Take what you can get. Oh, missed incendiary.
Did they try to do the running mollies?
Looked like it. FNX peppering through the walls. forZe with a near non-existent margin of error, and a little patience this time as they're going to have to wait out these smokes. Kenzie on the hunt, moving past party. We do have Fur actually coming closer around the bathrooms, making a bunch of sound, and if he assumes that's clear, then Fallen could be caught off, but he sees it, misses his chance at cutting down Kenzie. A single bullet, all he had to work with. Fur here to trade, and sure enough, you'll find it, despite a lot of damage. Then instantly, they're going to try to transition through that monster, and Jerry also takes one to the face.
Yeah, that had to peel back. They lost that opportunity. Oh, they'll leave Shelfie out with the lurk smoke. Fur's got an op sitting on the site, and he hits his shot, and FNX will find a nade kill.
They need that.
This is Imperial looking at match points.
And Jerry goes all the way back to spawn to grab bomb. By the time he comes back to B, he's lost half his teammates.
Yeah. 90% of his health.
What a crucial shot for Fur to hit there.
Yeah, seriously.
Without him, A-site's entirely in question.
Defended the trade, that's Kenzie. He was trying to do a lot by himself. He took the opera out, and instead of working the rifles back, he already heard Fur earlier go for the flash repeak, so he thought he would have an edge. But that was 2 players who basically knew where the other one was. He signed up for the honest duel, and Fur won Fight Club this time around. So that's 15 rounds for Imperial. A meter stick between them and forZe in almost every way, in terms of frags, in terms of tactics, in terms of utility, map control. Even the CT setups just look more competent than what we saw from forZe in the first half. Just a couple of rifle rounds deep into the second.
10 match points for us. 10 match points to fight against. And so little reason to believe. Shelfie looking to be an entry. Tucks into the short water. Oh no, grenade's destined for him. He's down to a quarter health. And with Fur inside of Connector, you'd think that maybe, just maybe, Vinny wants to extend around and deal with this, but for now it's going to be falling over towards Party.
Oh, he's trapped.
He's still able to make a sprint back here, finds a route to escape. That's ridiculous, and Fur will finish Shelfie. He had nowhere to run at that point. They flushed him out of short water. He nearly got back around to Monster, but just couldn't escape those tunnels.
They're making so much noise, even the B guys can hear them running up under the A site. FNX will hold.
From the corner, looking to lock this in. Bomb hits the dirt, and Imperial 2 kills away from a domination on Overpass. Bolts finds Kenzie's head. Zordy now showing himself, gets hit to 25 and tries to hold. Smoke ahead of him. Fur dunks it down, and Imperial with a gobsmacking performance on Overpass, taking Impact away from it. That is huge.
Yeah, that was amazing. I mean, that was actually insane. I didn't expect forZe to get basically bullied at every single turn, and that first half, like you said, it was a masterclass. The utility was beautiful. Their defaults looked good. The calling was on point. They're moving well, and they were fragging harder than forZe too, which is the last thing that I thought was going to be the storyline coming into this game. So they got to be feeling pretty good about this series.
You know, if they squeezed it out on tactics, if it was an close one and we saw that heart and we saw that depth, then okay, maybe, dude. But this, I could not have expected. And now, imagine you are forZe. You've seen it slip versus Vitality. You watched it pass by when it came to Outsiders, and this was meant to be your easiest game versus a team that some people had painted as an 0-3. You know, Imperial have kind of been mocked and laughed at in terms of this announcement with this roster. But since February of 2022, since they were announced, they have only been home for 8 days, Launders. 8 days. Everything else has been put into this performance. And at this major, they are now one map away after a shocking performance on Overpass from locking in a top 16 alongside Furia. 2 Brazilian representatives, maybe. forZe don't go down without a fight. And of course, we'll have Mirage up next. But for now, the panel.
The veterans rise up and in absolutely dominant fashion. A lightning-fast T-side from the Brazilians proved exactly why they should be feared coming into the grounds of Overpass. Gentlemen, I don't think there's any other word than just an absolute massacre for that first.
No, I was a little bit hesitant to say that Imperial on Overpass, would be a class team, given the opposition they played. They won 6 in a row, sure, but it was against, less good opponents. This time around, they're coming in against forZe. They're dominating from start to finish. They're playing a good game of Counter-Strike, and as much as we're going to talk about forZe shitting the bed, to be completely honest, Imperial is playing some solid Counter-Strike right now. They are making it very tough for them.
Imperial did play a solid game, but I do need a janitor to clean up after what forZe just did. I think there's a puddle of piss beneath all those players right now. They were not in that game at all. They were frightened. They looked terrified. The way that they were trying to get into some of those rounds looked desperate. I couldn't believe how bad forZe looked in this game. I knew that nerves were going to come to play in this one, but boy, did Imperial hold theirs. That was excellent stuff from them. Executed their game plan nearly flawlessly, and when the individuals needed to step up, we think that some of these Imperial players are just washed, that they have no chance fighting some of these young guns on forZe, but that's not even close. That's not even remotely the case. Fallen in particular had a fantastic game, both as a leader, as a captain, and just as a player.
I think that's what's so impressive as well, just looking at Fallen in particular under the microscope. The fact that we know he's calling primarily for this squad, but yet he can still put the frags up on the board, and it just looks so confident, particularly on that T side. He started off red hot.
Yeah, he started off fantastic. And I guess the way he's calling, right, he's trusting the teammates. Again, they're spreading out. They're playing the default style. You see FNX being the guy always, keeping tab of no flanks are going to come in. They're not going to lose control over the map at any point. And then Fallen, Fur, and the boys, they're getting it done. I agree with you. It's not in a style where they're going out there and seeking the duels and winning the duels and firepower is just, a step ahead of forZe. They're just playing some very simple, some very solid Counter-Strike. And this time around, that was enough to make forZe look silly.
I will say, I think the one cool thing about Imperial's game plan in this one were the nade stacks. I think that actually helped condition their opponents to play a slightly different style. And when you actually get these nade stacks early on in the half, and not only being able to do it on the pistol round here, but they're able to do it on a gun round later, you just feel like they're in your heads at that point. If Imperial get that sort of advantage early on, it feels like forZe, they feel red for the rest of the game, and they actually could never fight back after that.
I want to go back to a word that you kind of mentioned there, Pim, just a trust in one another, because I think it was kind of reflected in an interview with Fallen a couple of days ago. I think it was after they won against Liquid. And he was saying, you know, in terms of him being the primary caller, but you've also got Vinny, you've also got Bolts chipping in as well. And it's kind of good to hear that we had a similar thing going on with Liquid. It did not turn out very well for Fallen. It's kind of nice to hear that thus far, it's been working a little bit better for them here.
Much better. Much better. And we even discussed it in the green room, right? It almost feels like the way they're playing right now is the way they played in 2015. It's almost like they went all those years back, you know, and thought to themselves, let's just play to our strengths. Let's just do what we did 6 years ago. And that's such a long time ago that people don't really see that meta being played out anymore. It's like it comes full circle now to a point where people have forgotten about these classic setups on A-Long where you have one guy standing by a tree, another one down further. I think to myself, that's something we did 5 years ago. They're doing it today, and it's actually working out because I think they're so unique in their own way because they're so old, they're so experienced, you know, and it's just working out.
I know, these are probably setups you were running, Pim, when you were playing. Yeah, this, it's crazy to see it all just work out like that. Counter-Strike is just so fun because of that. Teams that just dig from the past, or really, they don't even dig from the past, they're just used to playing like this. And then for forZe to be thinking that, how are these guys in our heads? Because it feels like they're getting anti-stratted, when I think, in fact, Fallen and Co. are just playing to their comforts.
Yeah, Overpass truly was the best of times for the side of Imperial, but the worst for the side of forZe. We do have a bit of a disjointed moment from them, one of kind of many from that first half.
Yeah, I feel we could have picked many rounds, you know. We have round 11, which is a great example of forZe, again, not playing up to their best. We talked about it coming into the matchup. If Imperial were going to win here, obviously it requires them playing well, but it also requires forZe not playing so well. You see it right here. Imperial comes in towards the B bomb site, no problem whatsoever. They left so much space. Sure, they're losing out the first duel right here, but the forZe players are so disjointed. There's a guy in pit by himself. The other guy is now excluded from the round. The bomb goes down. This guy coming out by himself. A proper flash would have done the job. Couldn't get it done. Now, when a 3v3 like this, you can go for it and you should go for it, but at this point, you know, it's probably better to save, and that's the call that is being made right here from the AWP. After getting this kill, he's on his way back. You see the timer up there sort of going up towards heaven. You think, okay, they're making the mature decision to save the round. Jerry, though, he goes in for it, dies, and at what cost, at what point? You know, they're not talking together, they're not playing together for no reason whatsoever. One guy's saving, another guy's going in, and even though Jerry wouldn't have died, he wouldn't have won the round regardless.
In games like this, the teams that are just nervous, they're either talking too much or talking too little, and that was a prime example of them just not talking at all. I don't know if forZe are going to be able to bounce back mentally speaking, because this was a catastrophe in terms of what they were clearly showing in terms of the lack of communication, and I would have to assume, too, they probably are talking too much in some other moments where Fur and the rest of the gang is running up long, and it doesn't seem like forZe is even responding that quickly. There's all these moments where it feels like forZe are just not in it the way that they would be if they were at home. They had such crazy earnings online last year. They were doing so well, but when it's a big stage like this, you know that the big guns, the veterans on the side of Imperial, they're going to hold their nerve, and that's exactly what they did. They didn't even do anything too crazy. They just made sure they didn't make too many mistakes.
And this is where I want to bring up your kind of imperative point of the context of this matchup as well. The fact that, you know, forZe come here, they're 2-2, they were 2-0 up coming out of that first day. Jerry's been in this situation before as well, so the pressure really is on for him.
Yeah, this is a moment where Jerry had a chance for redemption. Map 1 did not go his way. There is a strong chance, though, on Mirage. I really do think that there's a likely bounce back from forZe. At the very least, just don't go out with a whimper. Just don't make it look like that. If they can actually put together a better and more competitive game, they can at least pat themselves on the back. But I actually think that this is probably going to 3 maps.
Well, we're going to see exactly how it does pan out, and if forZe can have a chance to redeem themselves. It is their map pick, and it is Mirage, and it's going to be coming up after this break.
succeed in this game, you need to invest in yourself. Be daring. Innovate. Calculate. Never hesitate. Follow your instincts. Don't follow the crowd. Back yourself. Bank your wealth. Analyze, strategize, and galvanize. Now is the time. Take your shot.
Esports is what we live and breathe. For us, it's more than a game. It's a reality, where a group of letters can mean everything. Where Mirage is a place for bombs, battles, and glory, not an illusion. Where the true heroes are those in front of the screen. GG Bet. This is real.
A chance for redemption for forZe and a chance to cling on to their major life. It does come down to their map pick of Mirage, which coming into things does spell better things than that of Overpass. Mario, how are you looking at forZe coming into this one?
I like how forZe play this map, given that they have inexperienced players. We highlighted it yesterday on the desk, the fact that Jerry really likes to call just 4-man mid-takes on Mirage, and that's something where it doesn't matter if 1 or 2 of your guys are nervous, because you will end up trading the kills out. You will end up taking the space that you're making your objective in that round. And so for forZe in this one, it's so much better because on Overpass, you get isolated very frequently. It's a huge map, and we saw that when forZe players were one-on-one against Imperial ones, it was Imperial winning a lot of those duels and just being more ready for the fights. On Mirage, you actually are able to secure yourself because of your safety in numbers.
I fully agree. You gotta go back to the root. You gotta go back to what you're good at here for forZe, and that is playing that wolf pack mentality we talk about. 4-man out middle, I don't care. 4-man out A together, I don't care. 4-man out B, I don't care, as long as you do it together. As long as you're in positions to constantly trade out your frags, and as long as you force these players on your screen in Imperial to be challenged on an individual skill, because we all agree firepower-wise, they're not really up there, right? In terms of raw firepower, I don't really think Imperial are better than forZe. I think they're smarter. I think they take better decisions. I think they're more experienced. But if you can isolate them and have duels where you're 2 against 1 as much as possible on a map like Mirage, you have a great win condition going for you.
Yeah, that was a great point that Launders brought up at the end of that Overpass, and why it maybe was so surprising that Imperial did win in that dominant fashion, is they did look like they kind of outdueled them in terms of that firepower. I do want to throw something into the mix, though. We were talking about before we went on air. The results for forZe thus far on Mirage at this very tournament against teams like Outsiders, teams like Vitality, of course, Na'Vi, we have a bit of a caveat there. But it hasn't spelled the most amazing results so
The thing
far.
is for forZe, they had a period online where they were winning pretty much every single game on Mirage. They took down good teams, you know, big Gamer Legion Ents, they've beat on Mirage as well. Very impressive results a couple of months ago, but still online they did this very, very well. Then into the LAN circuit, right? We saw them play it 2 times during the qualifier. They got a 16-14 win against Gamer Legion, probably one of the weakest teams we had, you know, during the qualifier. They couldn't do much at all. They barely got a win against them. Then they've lost, as you said, to Na'Vi, lost to Vitality, and yesterday against Outsiders, we thought forZe were the favorites coming into that game, but they also bottled a little bit here and showed that inexperience. So we're coming into that map pick, sure, and I'm also willing to back them up for winning this one. I think forZe is a decent team on Mirage, but let's not overestimate them just a tiny bit right here, because I actually feel as of lately that confidence must be shattered on Mirage.
Yes.
I think this is going to be an incredibly close game. I think that forZe should just edge it out. But then again, I'm also thinking that Imperial, they don't look too hot on Mirage either. They just lost to IHC in a fashion where they could barely trade any of their kills at all. They were giving up a lot of opening picks. It's almost like they didn't respect their own smoke grenades. They almost just sometimes went before the top mid smoke landed, trying to go for dry peeks here and there. And those kind of things are going to catch them off. If they just peek Zorte, if they peek Shalfie, you're going to get punished for that eventually. They're not going to stay nervous for the entire series. So I really think that Imperial have to play much better than they've been playing too. And forZe just need to play about what they're used to playing. They don't need to go above and beyond. But if nerves take over, as we just saw in Overpass, that's the win condition for Imperial for me on Mirage.
That's exactly why I kind of want to play devil's advocate maybe a little bit to that point. The fact that, we saw them getting nervous in the later stages of some of these best of threes. The fact that they've kind of already showed those nerves, those quivers, on the first map. I don't know, in your guys' opinion, whether that kind of does spell disaster coming onto Mirage.
It could be. We also saw just on the camps right here, the coach is in there, trying to calm down the guys, to tell them that this is just a game like any other game. We play our game. We're supposed to be better. So I think there's a point to maybe that, maybe they've shown their nerves now. Maybe they feel like they're in a position where they got everything to lose in a way that they can just calm down now and feel like it can't get any worse than what we saw in Overpass. And that could be a good thing that spirals out of control for them. But I think in terms of what I've seen, I agree with you. Mirage is not a good map for Imperial. They lost domestically to a team called Sharks as well, given that was online. So I feel forZe should be able to take this, but I'm willing to back up your point saying it's probably going to be in a close fashion.
Yeah, I think this is going to a third map for Freya. I really do, and I think that forZe is just going to eke it out, mostly because of the way that Jerry likes to call on this map. Makes it easy for his inexperienced players.
Well, we're going to see if forZe can push it to a third and final decider if they hope to hang on to that spot and make it to the Legends. Two other Legends though, Scrawny and Launders. What are you thinking for this one?
Lol.
Two legends.
What do you mean, lol? What is that?
Lol, heh, peep, heh. We're legends in our own rights, all right? And nobody comes close to the legendary status of the guys on Imperial, man. Now, with that message, okay, they have shook forZe to their core, but I think Maui is 100% onto something here when it comes to Mirage and when it comes to just Jerry doing his thing alongside these cracked gamers. These kids, Mohan, they're making them out of who knows what nowadays.
Yeah.
All right? I would be surprised if they don't put up at
Freya
least
would
a
say
fight.
aluminium.
Aluminium, she would. James Bardolph corrected me today, actually, on what do we say? Aluminum. It's aluminum. It's not aluminium.
Okay. I'll like it. I'll take any NA propaganda. We got 1A team. Okay, into Legends. Brazil are looking for one team to get out of Challengers into Legends. And if they can pull it off on Mirage, you're gonna be able to say it had everything to do with the experience. Our analyst desk just showed us that forZe are the team who should win this map.
Yes. And if they don't, if they crack under this pressure again, then we're talking about an actual choke from a potential 3-0 to what could be a shortcoming. FNX puts it to rest.
Oh, FNX, he's going.
He got that fourth
Talk to him.
for a decade.
Oh, I get so hyped watching FNX play again, dude. Let's go.
This guy's been rocking noobs. The USP. Who do you think you are?
That's good stuff, man.
3 clean ones, little bit labored, reloads in, tuck, die.
They couldn't buy a trade. But this is our first time casting an Imperial, match.
Ever.
We watch these rounds closely and everything like that. And after watching that last map, I don't know how they've lost to anybody in the world so far.
They are simply the best.
I think one of the cool things is, too, there's no players that are playing badly consistently overall. Almost everybody is contributing a little bit. And FNX has just kind of been there in the middle, 14, 15 kills or so. We saw the impact, though, on Overpass. All the lurks, all his positions, even had pulled off a couple of site holds as well. But whatever, I don't know, when's the last time someone's taken a break the size of FNX and been able to compete again at a major? I don't even know if that's happened before. It's just the sheer amount of time is ridiculous.
To break through new territory. How sick that would be. For now, they just got to get through some Glocks. Norvy's Deagle as well in the mix here, but bomb drop bottom and middle. And Vinny just chilling on the catwalk. Sends Norvy packing. Jerry back onto the Desert Eagle. What can he do with it? Nothing. He's dead. They're all dead. Everybody's dead. Dead on the bench. forZe gonna have to hope. Gonna have to hope that once they've got those guns, something changes. Overpass was not inspiring. Mirage is meant to be different. But we could still be in a world where we get more of the same if Imperial's form just comes into this final match, this one chance to qualify for the Legend stage. Because unlike forZe, Imperial have been fighting back since day one. They lost their opening game. Then they beat Liquid, which kind of felt like, Liquid's off day. Imperial now.
Yeah, this is all proven against that, basically.
Versus the AKs and a Krieg. kenzie the opening kill. Zorti fires off, sees that player towards Cat, and gets hit by the nade. Shalfie, he can sense that something's up, and sure enough, Bolt's very close.
Didn't take a fast step, but yeah, you can't really get out of that. Fallen being quite aware, but right now, without connector, we've got Bolt who doesn't want to be up here, so he actually does take a peek. He does take a peek, and that's really good awareness here from Shalfie. Looking to catch rotations as they're posted up in the window. And Vinny, you know, he's worried about it, but is he prepared for the duel? Yes, he is. Zordi goes down.
Smoke ahead of Fallen. He's got two players already exiting around the ramp. That Palace guy's still just locked in. Fallen doesn't go for the peek with the flash, still shaves Norvi off the play. First gun round falling around forZe, and Fallen fighting every step of this, goes ahead, cuts off Shalfie, and the first gun round also unsuccessful.
That's a bad sign. They had the fresh smoke in Palace, and they still tried to scale the site, and there was no way for Shalfie to come out. That strengthened the default position, which is really strong for dealing specifically with A-ramp players. So that utility, again, coming into play for Imperial, and it was also huge for Vinny, who's got 5 kills already in the map, to pick up Zorti inside the window. That was one piece of leverage that I don't think Imperial would have been able to stand up to. So key trades again, the story into map number 2. And we've had Imperial have some off days in terms of their aim. At least they couldn't keep up with IHC on this map. But, okay, wait a second. Shalfie's under balcony. Oh my god, he doesn't get the kill! He doesn't get the kill. Sidelined by Fallen. Just walking back into his sight.
That one could have been.
That lurk gets shut down.
But there are more lurks where that one came from. kenzie going to try to get the better of Bolts here inside a window. Sure enough. Oh, no. Not so certain. Still gets there. Hands onto the AK. Man advantage for Imperial. Deep Palace position as well. Bomb, remember, still towards T-spawn. So this round, very wishy-washy. Oh, but Norvi. That's Vinny out of the round.
This is interesting because for a second they weren't playing to win the map. Now Fallen is playing 1-1 with his teammate, and on top of the balcony, he'll spot one. This could send them over towards B. I don't know. They could smoke him out in Palace, but the bomb is coming via A ramp. Now the rotation is what we should pay attention to. FNX will be the only person to be free to make a move. And he's trying to get in a position to cut off this bomb, aware of the push to the market, but it comes too soon.
Norvi's still thinking about Palace Fallen. He wants to play it fast. Jumps over top of the Tetris. They're going to hear this. And, kenzie makes a world of difference in this one. 3 frags for him.
Amazing cover. Ridiculous lurks that got pulled off right there. And that's a position where it was 2-on-4.
Yeah, and FNX was watching that for a while. First one's here, Bolts. That gives the gun over to kenzie. Norvi comes in, so those 2 separate deegs, but then kenzie, I mean, FNX was running away watching that. Turns his attention for a moment, and that's when the push comes through. Imperial, they're going to give one up to the Deagles. A 2v4 win from forZe could be the kickstart that they need, but double ops immediately in from Imperial, and a missed shot from Zordi as he tries to find Fallen flying across mid into connector and possibly beyond.
Look at that aggression from Fallen in front of all the grenades, and they know the op is on A ramp, so Fallen says, I can post up now. Zordi's going to come right into his angle. That's the play. Cerebral from this team. A complete punish. It doesn't come down to how good someone is. That comes down to reading the map perfectly. Jumping by his first opponent, looking for a rifle, and then picking up the op just later on. Zordi will be kicking himself. He just got completely outplayed.
Fallen, can he get another? They're waiting the smoke out. He could sense this. Cut him off, but Norvi insta headshot on that, and Bolts' MP9 you'd think couldn't do too much. Smoke grenade ahead of jungle, FNX with the potential to challenge, but Fur finds it. As Norvi tries to run over, he gets shot in the back of the head. Jerry contemplating the connector push, and sure enough, FNX then comes in with it. Kenzie looking for the bomb plant, but Bolts, he's going to put a smoke ahead. And Kenzie, dude, he just sticks that all the way through. Bolts goes over top, Shalfie into the 1v3 clutch. He's been spotted and shot at. And it's going to be a tough one for him to do anything because the bomb's planted on the other side of default. I mean, he literally can't get Bolts off this. He'd have to run all the way in. Imperial victorious in round number 5. Getting a kill through a smoke on the cross, fallen all the way to top mid. They're not playing scared.
No, they're not. They're playing smart. That was an enormous opening pick from Fallen, first thing. But then after all the action went down on the site, you know, they were clasping their hands and praying basically with that plant. There was no post-plant setup. They were completely open to CT spawn. Bolts got 2 kills with just his MP9 and 1 smoke, trusting himself in that spot. But overall, there just wasn't much there. So far, only an eco 1x4s and what looks like a fast attack on the B site. Gearing up, rotations starting to come in now. FNX up to bat. Nate does something, but it's minimal. And for whatever reason, Imperial seem very aware that this is the idea. And forZe will take the hint. They see a couple of Molotovs and an HE go down, and they think they've been read. But do they have the utility to fan the map once again and come up with something new? It could get very lurky once again. The Achilles heel of Imperial in that 1 rounds, and just a mainstay of a lot of T-side attacks for forZe. They like to do that.
Keeping it grouped outside of the apartments. Norvi, ooh, dangerous, dude. Just jumps around. Flash is going to prime the push. Mac 10 at the front of this. Shalfie falls downwards, gets immediately cut off by Fur. Him and FNX with a great crossfire as the operant Fallen comes through. Bomb chucked down to the dirt, and Jerry, his position is unknown. He jumps into Fur and will find no footing. Norvi, quarter health as he tried to fight through connector. This one is flat from forZe and a 5th for Imperial.
This one's not even close. If you have someone playing Fur, like where Fur was at the fence, you know it's that's it. They had 2 riflers in this perfect crossfire in the site with Fallen dedicated inside the window. They were so light on A, but Imperial were sure that they just saw forZe attempt an attack and left 1 deep in the connector because that's where everyone goes to sell some kind of fake towards mid. Once that gets shut down, forZe again, they have no utility, so they have to go forward with the attack. But it was already written in stone before they had jumped out of the window. Imperial locked it up. Another insane start already into map number 2. This does not look like it's even going to be a grind based on what we're seeing from forZe at the moment. So they'll pick up the op again on Zorti, and another slow map from him, 0 and 6. You know, 1 direct outplay versus Fallen, and they should keep investing in him. It's not like they shouldn't just because he's not feeling it right away. He has been consistently good throughout this stage.
This one's quick. Jerry already at the bottom of connector. Vinny looking for the smoke through, and Zorti gets Bolts. Where's that? Inside A site. T-side kind of jumbled here inside a connector. Vinny on that close range op. He's been spotted and tagged up, then entirely smoked off. Zorti's got himself again another kill, and Fallen dinked as this one is just a swarm from forZe.
Oh, great to see that. Opening kill from Zorti.
There's that life.
Fast play that they work with him on to go for mid control, disrespect all the space, pick apart an A player, follow the frag. He gets a second. This one has his name written all over it. 2 players from Imperial cannot get back into this.
Ferocious, man. That's that confident, just quick hit the forZe are looking to use to just chop down Imperial in these kinds of setups. Get through it. Sharp pack mentality.
Yeah, we saw a lot of times on from forZe they're going to put tons of pressure towards connector. In the Outsiders match, they had trouble with taking over mid control versus a very aggressive look from them, from Outsiders on mid control on CT side. So I wonder if Imperial, if that was one of the games that they studied, since it's a very fresh demo, and if they tried to apply that pressure, R4 is going to fall to it, basically. So I'm watching for the cat setup where Fallen starts his rounds, and as nice of a guy as Fallen seems to be in all of his interviews, he is, one of the most aggressive operators in history to have, won a major, to have insanely high impact and individual level. So, a lot of it comes down to following him. Now, Vinny's the one holding the op at the moment, but they pick up a second for Fallen. It's one of the best ways to streak and put pressure on teams that default and lurk too much is to get 2 ops. But that set tactic in the mid, if it's red, it's kind of very hard to pull off twice, I would say. And they are jumping into underpass, which is a super solid way to deal with this as well. And Zorte, yeah, they copy and paste it. They're literally waiting for this one move.
Zorte will catch him jumping, but he's already 2-man down. Quick response.
They were waiting for this one move, and we've got to pull the pin play here on the Palace, so Fallen has his eyes trained on this angle deep to the back of it, and now feels confident that they're not even here.
Follows in the footsteps of Shalfi, who just left.
This all opens up the A site to Bolts to play in a number of new positions. The one weakness that we can see on the map is within mid again, so if fours want to scour it, there is a chance for Zorte to get a second try, actually a third one if we count the last round, for his op to work towards A, but there is no one floating there right now. But this is a position where if you're Imperial, you don't need to do anything more than what Fallen has already done in taking Palace.
Should just be able to ease this one over the line. FNX thinking about this cat play. Oh, Zorte jumps down. He's not coming up connector just yet, but FNX, they both get seen. And Zorte gonna offer us a little bit more here. Fallen doubles back from Palace. Bomb looking to be planted on the opposite side of Triple. And as Bolts comes in with shots, it's Fallen with impact. Smokes himself off. Creates that bit of ambiguity. Jumps outwards into the site now. He's got a little bit of a foothold. Norvi not inside of ramp, but fighting behind box. Nice tap. Beautiful impact. As he then does get deeper into cover. Vinny trying to now come around the side of jungle, and now it's only on Fallen. He taps that bomb once, sprints across towards Sandwich, looks to fight Norvi first, and that at least is his. But there's no time, and he knows it. forZe able to cut through connector and get themselves a third.
There was one perceptible opening there, and it was searching back through mid. forZe identified it. They walked up. Zorte had his impact, so that's a great sign. Good mid-round here from forZe. The loose piece was FNX off cat. They caught him lurking. He had a chance, and he had the right idea that they were going to come into connector late. But of course, you don't want to be dueling an Opera at the bottom of connector, so it was a good position for Zorte to be in. And you can just see how important he is to this team. And, these are T-side op impact rounds from Zorte.
Leaves Imperial in shambles. Op on Fallen save from the last one. It is here at the intended target of forZe, but
oh my god. Wow.
Just gets instantly deleted. Bolts. What? Molotov bounces up top. Jerry's gonna get the fire frag. And FNX's USP not destined for this world. It is forZe with a stomp on that A site.
Yeah, everyone got decimated.
Little energy here in the eyes of forZe as they're hoping to rebound on Mirage.
That up again. That was the one. It was a save round, but they had carried that forward from Fallen. Zorte took him down. He's getting revenge consistently now. Taking the pen out of Imperial's hand, starting to write the story for themselves. At least we've got a bit of a longer match now.
Yeah, right. We get a game. Vinny. Prolonged spray still. That's Norvi out of it. And Norvi, dude, that one headshot he got last round. He got dinked as he takes a player with him.
I don't think Jerry's getting away with this. We've seen 2 come through on these plays.
Clean kills elsewhere.
Ooh, not a big fan of these set pieces from forZe. They're trying the exact same thing over and over again. Doesn't shoot.
Gotta click. Gotta click. Important part of the kill. Jerry's patience. Just waiting for Fur to put his head on the silver platter.
I think Jerry's calls are okay, but sometimes he's too legible. I think it's as soon as they got some success, they decided, let's try it again. Imperial said, okay, let's just answer back to what we just saw in case they do try it again. Countered perfectly on this round. Having a rifler come out the bottom of connector as two people are jumping through the cat smoke is a really perfect counter with the flash. That on that timing, and if forZe are going to do the running strat, then it's going to be very easy to counter with a flash. So they need to have a bit more layers to the attack, and they can save some of their favorite stuff, but they kind of need to dress it up differently every time, and I don't think they're doing a good job of that right now. So something to do with late mid, underpass control before taking top mid control as well, and really working harder to take over connector, I think, is something that they should pop in instead of continuously coming in with such a high tempo. So I think this is just what Imperial want to see.
And if we saw anything on Overpass, it was the depth to Imperial, right? The adaptability.
Yeah, they showed...
And the proactivity too, right? Sometimes just changing things before they stalled out, before it was a problem. Just keep it fresh. Obviously, Imperial embodying that part of it.
Yeah, that was an incredibly healthy T-side from Imperial. You saw every single type of round. You know, they threw in a super successful monster rush on round 11. That was the one time they did it, and the rest of their half was insanely welcome, or still really compelling. So it's a small lead, but I just don't feel like forZe are really near the power position just yet. They're going to attempt it out mid right now off the spawn with Zorte again.
Looking for what was that peak from the last round. And
oh, that's good.
There we go. Adaptability off of the tac pause.
There's their counter finally, instead of running into Imperial's counter.
Depth. Shelfie looking to lock in this kill versus Fallen. Utility going to indicate he's already on the Tetris. We do have these two ops here from Imperial on the A site. Full-blown execute could be thrown out from forZe. Vinny looking to get ahead of it. Incendiary could slow down the ramp push. Should slow down the ramp push.
Oh, is he going up top?
Remember, there's a player in sandwich.
Yeah, this is a free frag.
Doesn't seem to have thought the possibility was there. Vinny gonna miss his op shot, and Shelfie already super close. Just chasing these. Instead, Vinny backs up a little too much, and with that, Norvi strikes him down from middle. forZe, nice and clean as can possibly be.
Yeah, now when you see the riflers, they're so damn sharp.
Look at that, right? The skill?
Yeah, the skill starts to appear.
Mechanically
it does start with the
talented,
calling,
dude.
right? And they actually react to what we've seen on the map instead of say we're going to force Imperial to bend over to our will. And you can't do that before a team is worried about you. And so at least now, this is a position where Imperial said, we've seen this too many times. Let's try to have that rifler come out of connector again in case it is a fast explode towards the bottom of connector. And instead of Zorte running up cat to try to peek into the A site once again, they just have him on a boost waiting for this exact peek. It pays off. And they throw a lot of their similar nades so it feels fast. But they don't throw their top mid smoke and block off Zorte's peek.
Little change in the game and a change in the outcome.
They've got great riflers, but of course it's ideas that are going to win the matches. Not just strong entries. So, I mean, that actually makes things so interesting. Like, now at least some of that has changed hands, right? More respect for forZe for game planning a little bit better. What is now the response from both teams, as there's been a bit of misdirection in terms of what has worked and what hasn't?
All right, back to the boost, huh? Less presence in mid, but Shelfie's still behind those boxes. Ooh, and they're going to go hunting for him. He's stuck back there, puts out the threat. Starts to chuck out some utility of his own. There's numbers, of course, from forZe towards this A-lean.
As long as he stays alive, Imperial are going to be worried. You know, what else are they trying to do besides keep this one guy alive?
Kenzie walking out. Oh, Fallen locked into the fight. More damage done. Fallen behind triple. Grenades start to fly over top. Kenzie's still stuck on Tetris. Jerry looking for that connector play. We got 3 counter-terrorists trying to crunch down in mid. Jerry, half health, just trying to run. Gets gunned down by bolts. His second in middle. Kenzie still hunting the head of Fallen. As both those players made contact, survived, and repositioned. Norvi trying to get his route open into A. Everybody grouped up here from forZe. Vinny now trying to strike him down. kenzie 9 health, not long for this one. And Norby right there after. Vinny 3 kills on the A play, and you saw it. They were able to crunch into mid while the A exit got slowed down.
Yes, and even though Imperial didn't get the kill in mid right there, they had the boost up early. They saw one crossing, and then they maintained. And I think that the reason they can get away with this boost is because they've identified something else that forZe have not been using underpass nearly enough versus all of these setups inside of middle. Jerry comes up late, but at that point, Imperial have already won middle. They've had their position enforced. So. Okay, another round. Fast play again out towards middle, jumping up on Cat. Zorte using spawns.
Lots of pressure here with nades. Fire to the chair. kenzie just beneath that one, and we're going to boost the guy on sandbags. Fallen barely alive at this point already. He's going to fall back around through market as FNX just looks to find something. We've got a jungle crossfire set with bolts. kenzie tucked into the corner, can't be seen just yet.
He must have been, though. Oh my god.
And there it is, an attempt from kenzie, cut down by bolts on stairs. He's also fighting Shelfie, so you know bolts just feels so desperate right here. Jerry tries to come out. The USP's in hand doing damage. That's desperate from Jerry, and yet still he's alive and fighting. Falls back, smoke fades. Zordy here as well. And bolts. Just going to clear out these corners, but look at the health. Look what's left of the majority of Imperial's players. Bare bones. 40 seconds. forZe fell back. They move Jerry around through that T-spawn, looking to join forces with Norby, the bomb carrier. Got Vinny down beneath as Shelfie looks over top. A quick B rotate, though. This is a miscall. They're going to come back. Good thing Vinny stuck around, and we'll see if he can do it on his own, or if reinforcements, which are needed, arrive in time. A headshot into Norby. Jerry's got an answer, but he has no teammates and no HP. Basically, the same situation as Fallen, Fur, and Vinny.
Yeah.
This one comes down to the wire, but it's Imperial's name stamped on it.
Yeah, but overall, they were super good. I mean, they did everything right still. Like, some of those trades, I'd say, were pretty CT favored. And Jerry will eventually get a kill right as the round ends and pick him up for Zorte, which is nice. There's absolutely no love for B. There's no one B defaulting in some of these situations. Like, regular lurk smokes aren't being thrown. They're not taking any utility out. What I'm going to say is that Jerry has identified one thing, is that once his teammates cross that connector line, have lurked out to sandwich, or have gotten onto the site and have their bomb in their hands ready to plant, they win the rounds. Even if it's not even a post plant yet. Oh my god, what a shot. Okay, that's pretty insane. What? Chill for a second, but he is the only one with a gun.
Yep.
That would have been enormous if there was rifles behind this.
What more can he do? They're staying tucked. It looked like they exchanged glances, but oh my god, the Glock dink. That's going to shake Fur for a second.
Yeah, actually a touch awkward. They can't get that that gun that they dropped, but Zorte is still alive.
You can just tell that the CTs know this one's going to be slimy. The fact that Fur loses half his HP, that neither him or Vinny are able to get either of those kills.
Look at the lurk positions that Fallen is checking right now. That's how much forZe have been lurking so far.
Up close, Fallen gets one. Dives immediately back into the bomb site. And I mean, really, what forZe can do here is just throw themselves at the site. It's the only option. Palace going to be the shortest route. If they can just waterfall into this, if Zordy can give support, we'll see what Fallen can offer. He's had 2 really good maps, 12 and 6 right now. It's just pistols, Fallen. And so, as he gets dinked, he locks in the first 2. Op player falls back. Looking to come inwards now, 25 seconds, he's got the bomb. No, he doesn't, it's still behind him, and he has no other teammates, but he's still fighting every step of the way. Zordy then able to get hands on it, looking to put himself in the post plant, give a little bit of extra money over. Vinny in the open, and Vinny over the finish line. That is a 9th for Imperial's CT half.
Yeah, so at least the bomb plant, that's better than they've been doing overall. And my only point earlier was just that up until that point now of trying to get past the connector line, trying to get up the A ramp and go for all of these lurks, they look desperate. They look desperate to get that little bit of map control, and Imperial sense it and have put in place really good stoppers for making sure that that isn't satisfied. And this shot's so ridiculous. I mean, we don't even see him between the flames. And those picks have been great for what it's worth. I could totally understand, you know, Jerry weaponizing him as much as possible and just playing spawn-based CS in a lot of these spots. But right now, from the perspective of conditioning, I mean, they're doing such a poor job. Quite one-dimensional in terms of the attacks. I think it's very clear what they want, which is already a really big problem. Now they have one more chance to stop Imperial from getting to double digits in the first half again. forZe now close to getting eliminated after nearly 3-0ing the challenger stage. You kind of want better for them.
What a burden to carry for Jerry. He's been here before, and he is now only 7 rounds from being here again. Falling short despite all these chances. And at that point, I mean, we got to talk about pressure. We've got to talk about the stress of the situation on forZe's shoulders. Contrasted to that of Imperial, who at some point thought this would be their one and only time to get into the Legends stage. When FNX was lifting trophies in 2006, Jerry was 8 years old. Shelfie was 4.
Probably still fragging.
Queuing that FPL. Fur dives down into the smoke. Very little HP. They're spamming him.
Okay.
And they're going to get him. Then the cat fight here from Vinny. That's the answer. We got to jump up into the window quickly. Kenzie wasting no time as he looks to lurk through Murder Hole, and sure enough, he got that past them.
That's the play.
We talked about no love towards B site. Well, finally, the flank is coming. FNX, he should have been doomed already, but he will kill Norvi first. And Kenzie getting closer and closer. FNX around the corner.
Oh, this is actually
good enough.
A little scary, yeah.
Vinny hot on the heels, though. Shelfie's going to fall down into the site. Zordy's looking to cross around from Arch. And Kenzie's just locked into bench. Vinny's position could catch them off guard.
Whoa, he's walking the whole way.
He also has a little element of surprise, and he's sharp for that first one. 2 versus 2. Fallen, insta-trade into Shelfie, and Zordy now just looking for the clutch. He's got a Molotov, a flash, and an Arch position. Damage into the back CT. He knows they're both right here. Flashes for himself. Does a bunch of damage, but it is not enough. And finally, you can see it, dude. The frustration.
Wow, to lose that round.
That sinking feeling that you finally have a chance to get that B site. You've got FNX cleared off of bench, but Vinny was so quickly behind them.
They did such a good job of orchestrating chaos inside a middle. They found the perfect timing. There's no way that was going to be called. Vinny just got a kill, went right up into ladder room. Of course, FNX is dead meat. And with the entire site, we can start to see why they haven't been going B so much. Couldn't even survive in that situation. You put them on the A site in that situation, they win 10 times out of 10. That's basically what we've seen. So off we are into the second half, and Imperial 6 rounds away for becoming legends. Legends becoming legends. I think for them, they have shown they put the ego away. You know, all of the past wins, the trophies, they forgot about them. They know they have to earn it again, and they proved it. They put together a team that works and are playing really high-level CS.
Yes. Their accomplishments mean nothing in the server in 2022. A project that was laughed at, scoffed off, and yet now finds itself this close, but it's not over. Third time's the charm for forZe. Shelfie coming up from underground. Oh, Fur catches him.
Jesus.
Imperial, they just fall silent. They let forZe play their hand, and they played right into the trap. And it looks like Imperial anticipating more of it.
Sorte's in a key spot, but it wasn't being watched, so you can see they're ready for any kind of mid push that's coming, and oh, he'll take him out.
They're just waiting.
Yeah, there was 2 there to trade. They get the pushes that they know forZe are going to give them, and now they could transpose into whatever they want. It's 5v3. forZe have to figure out a way to do something creative. These are the hardest situations to figure out how. But Kenzie, he might be able to squeeze water from stone. Top mid, if it's fast enough, can get behind the player setting up their exec, but they're going to be planting the bomb before he's up the stairs.
Nobody's even close enough either, so 2 walking kills. forZe playing hard mode as Kenzie wraps around through the apartments. Fur with the insta headshot on the Glock.
Are they even going to take damage this round? That's the question.
Dude, they're just, they seem immortal. They've got forZe running for the save. Imperial for 2 walking kills. forZe playing hard mode as Kenzie wraps around through the apartments. Fur with the insta headshot on the Glock.
Are they even going to take damage this round? That's the question.
Dude, they're just, they seem immortal. They've got forZe running for the save. Imperial, they just played that so patiently. Beautiful pistol. Sat back, relaxed, and knew that forZe, a rambunctious bunch of kids.
They just got 3 kills, planted the bomb, and won the round without taking any damage at all.
Like it's nothing.
On T side. Okay. Maybe a fight comes through now.
Kenzie, yeah. You'll get the better of Fur, that's it. But I'm... Five more rounds, that's it.
Ended investment here from forZe. Single FAMAS. They've got an idea behind it, you know. Picking every single position on A, just waiting for the late round to come their way. And we don't know if Imperial are willing to scout in a position like this. So this is where stacks will be quite effective, of course. But the only thing is that ending B is so common on anti-ecos anyway. Looks like blind, they're still going to figure out what the right side is to go to. And Zorte will call for some assistance. We'll throw to smoke to scare him. Jerry and Shelfie both have smokes as well. But they can't throw him here. Molly's coming out for Van.
Yeah, Zorte's going to have to give us something spectacular. And he just needs to survive the fire first. Gets around that corner, 28 health, nothing. Empty-handed B-hold.
Jesus Christ.
Teammates nowhere to be found. Imperial, easy, 12 on the board.
Yeah.
No stress.
Locked it up. Lost the player last round at the end. Didn't lose one this round so far. And because forZe invest, they have a vested interest in making sure they can try to use these guns again if possible. And Imperial probably, they want to hunt a little bit, but they're running on $0 too. So there could be a handshake agreement to just give each other space and just see if forZe are trying to stop them from saving. I think that's what they just need to figure out. So it's safe to leave. But overall, incredibly clean round. No resistance. forZe stacked the wrong site. Hey, it's just a blind gamble. Worth a shot. At least they picked the site to stack. If they had played B there with like 2 people, then 3 on A, they lost those 2 guys, then this round would be a whole lot less easy to win or get kills in. So they give themselves a chance. Let's see if they can invest in anything else. And it's cool they've got multiple IGLs on Imperial between Bolts and Vinny and Fallen, who are all contributing, but they agree there are not too many cooks in the kitchen. 5 fingers on one hand, as Shocks would say.
Fallen also alluding to just like the general energy in the tribe as well, where it's not always going to be the best call for the best situation. Nobody's perfect, but they all accept that, and they keep the energy high, believe in it.
That's what I always say. A bad call is a good call as long as you do it fast.
And if you don't do it fast enough, then go faster.
Go to the next round. You know, if you're not going to trust an IGL to make a decision when nobody else wants to do it, everybody can find problems. But respecting the guy who has the solutions is really key. And it seems like they're doing a great job of that.
FAMAS MP9, and already an opening. forZe, it is not too late. It is never too late to try and manifest destiny.
Uh-oh.
Fur comes out from underpass. Nade hunting Zorte. He just gets away with that one. rounds the corner of connector. Catwalk's not going to be a challenge here, so Fur, he definitely has a little bit of space to work. Jerry's double backing from sight.
Interesting. Getting around the smoke. It looks like Fur just wants to phase it, actually.
Zordy is inside of this.
I can't help but feel like he's going to get knifed in a situation like this. Oh, but actually, well, Zorte somehow.
But with 7 HP, that AK is still valuable nonetheless. He doubles it back through the CT spawn, looking to just bolster a little defense on top of Ticket. Yeah, give it to Jerry, who has armor, but who during that swap gets challenged from Bolt, so Jerry just wasn't ready. But Zordy maybe wants to pick that gun back up, but Bomb is still just walking cat, no stress. Again, these slow, meticulous calls, these calm rounds. As kenzie locks into Arch, you think he has to be everything here. Fallen gets the better of him. It's damage from the CT side, but Fallen survives. And now forZe, the little HP that the last two players have to work with, the potential to just keep some of the cash, something in this round, and Bolts is still here in Palace, hunting Zorty and that AK. Now he knows he's here. 13-5, forZe cleared, nothing saved. 3 rounds away from top 16 at the major.
They created so much tension. In that time, a team could have grouped up and started walking somewhere. Instead, they kept the bomb at chair, Bolts in Palace, and FNX in the B halls, and used all 3 parts of those engagements to take the B site, with Fallen walking up cat late to trade up Get Right, and his spacing between him and FNX. Even if he had died, FNX gets that right away. And Bolts searches out A and brings them towards the A site the entire time as well. There's just not enough info at any one of those moments for forZe to get anything back. And I think they know that there was a CTs and underpass just now. This investment is the best one so far for forZe. Op and play full guns. Late underpass crawl as we saw them just hunt that out, and Fur, oh my god.
Tries to double down on it, but ultimately walks right into the crosshair of kenzie. Luckily for forZe, the 3 CTs set up in mid. I mean, they find that trade.
But you know what? Yeah, Fur just saw that there was no op on the top of connector. Here he is in CT spawn. Zorte's going to be transitioning over to the other side of the
sketchy
site, and he wants to take a risk. He understands if he loses his spot, he doesn't get a kill.
Nicely done, him and kenzie. Frag a piece. FNX comes out from underpass. Shelfie just going to keep that head tucked down. Frag lands on top of him. He'll be on 40. FNX, oh my god, he just got 2. And meanwhile, Fallen, he's found his entry onto the site. He got his 18th kill, and he puts himself into the clutch. How does FNX get that second? Bomb planted default, but think of the years of experience that Fallen has over kenzie. The hope of the new generation. As kenzie stands in the no man's land, Fallen hones in on him and takes it. And Imperial, 1 step closer.
I can't believe that, FNX.
Another 2v4.
Another 2v4?
Fallen and FNX forever.
Holy hell. Send as many guys as you can. You're going to need them all. He's got 6 hands. And, man, unlimited aim. That's just ridiculous.
Ice cold.
They wanted to get rid of him so they could get just to the A side and end the last guy's life. But, man, it took the whole squad.
Still, kenzie keeps it clean. Vinny shaved off of this one. Quick movement here from forZe. Jostling around inside of the connector. But think about these rounds and Imperial's ability to just go calmly, go quietly.
Yeah, basically their lurks look way more tactful.
You know, everybody making sure they're on the same page of the book. Before the librarian checks them out. They're just going to let Fallen do his thing. Looks to find contact outside of ramp. And if that jump on ticket goes wrong...
It was spotted here, right?
Should have been. Now it has. Warning bells start to ring inside this A site. Shelfie, utility destined for him. He's going to try and put that out. Oh, he's got half of his health left over. Bolt sends a grenade, and that nade is on point. Shelfie blown out of his position. 35 seconds to the clock. You know that kenzie can kill them. He's been so sharp. but another smoke to just guarantee it. Fallen's gonna drop a shot. Jerry can't get the better, and now again, Imperial, just out of nowhere, put it down onto Norvi. So meticulous, so perfect, as they look to lock in 15. Frag thrown forward, but Fallen's over towards default. Again, grenades exchanged both ways, and it's Fur with another kill. Imperial with 10 map and match points.
This is unbelievable.
Unbelievable.
The quality of the rounds. Man, Shelfie had nothing to do here. A nade to finish him off is so sweet considering it comes down to the carpet Molotovs between default and under Balk. They walked out. Another 4v5 situation, they pull it back on a tremendous A exec, isolating the one threat in the site, smoking out everybody else. And forZe thought they finally did enough. They showed up in middle, they got an opening kill, then they evacuated everything, they just played to sites. That might have been their mistake, thinking the game was over. And a last tack called here from Jerry. It's going to take the strat of his life. And then 10 more. And then we're just in overtime. I mean, we're, one round into overtime at that point. Fallen 20-8.
Just ridiculous. His play across Overpass and now Mirage, vintage. This is vintage CS. It is 2022. Yeah. And the core of Fallen, FNX, and Fur are one round away from being top 16 at a major. Bolts is back. Vinny to join his old teammates in Furia as the only 10 Brazilians at the Legend stage. And Imperial haven't even broken a sweat, but they have broken the backs of forZe round after round, broken their spirits, broken their hopes. Five young Russians, dude, who were on the cusp of just doing the unthinkable. A 3-0 run felt real. And Fur just lurks out. Doesn't get spotted, but gives away the position. An intended B hit. This is going to have to be the round of Norvi's life as he just locks into the arch. And with this mid presence from Fur, he's really preoccupying the rest of forZe.
Keep it 3 CTs here.
Nobody's leaning B. Nobody's looking to help. It's FNX on the entry. Vinny's trying to come at this from the other direction. They both get around the cat side. Norvi will cut down one, but then there's the pinch from Vinny. And Zordy, well, he's just looking to get this angle locked in, trying to cut these players off. Shelfie will attack from Cat. He's got help, but they're coming. Can you believe your eyes?
Yeah.
3 months of being on the road, boot camp to boot camp to boot camp. Varied levels of success. Getting to the major felt crazy.
Man.
They celebrated with champagne at the RMR because they got to play at this event. What they do tonight, who knows? Congratulations.
Yeah, they burned the house down. That was absolutely insane. And condolences to forZe, man. They were so close, touching distance. They had odds. They ripped through the first portion of this major. But in this series, they were not the better team, and it wasn't close. It was Imperial every day of the week, and you have to wonder what kind of damage can they do in Legends now that we've seen this.
Yeah, I mean, a heartbreaking one for Jerry. Again, coming up short, the 23-year-old leading another group of talented CIS players to what feels like an unthinkable run, but has to hurt more than anything else.
Yeah.
Oh, for every Cinderella story, there's a broken heart, and unfortunately tonight, that's that of forZe. But Imperial have made it. Your last team for the Legend stage. Unbelievable scenes. What do you guys make of that?
Legends never die as Imperial do make it to the next stage of the PGL Antwerp Major. Just a lightning fast series to be closing this Challenger stage out. They prove that a wealth of experience, their veteran status is enough to be pushing it over the line, Pimp.
Yeah, it's fantastic to see. They keep staying relevant. They keep dancing, right? It's a team of players, a team where you look at the names and you think to yourself, they are supposed to be good. But in reality, coming back after such a long period of not playing Counter-Strike, we're talking about players like FNX, Fur, etc., that they can come back and be relevant and play at this level, making forZe look so bad throughout a series, to me, that's super, super impressive. All the credit in the world to them.
I think that's the most impressive thing, to see players like you just mentioned coming back. And the thing is that I don't think they necessarily play this crazy style. They don't do anything too interesting, but they just punish opponents like forZe for every little mistake. Anytime someone from forZe just makes one misstep, it seems like they are so ready to capitalize. They're so ready to pounce. I'm simply happy to see Imperial do this, because the fact that they've stayed relevant for this long, even with that break in between, to see this lineup come together. So many people thought this was going to be a paycheck-stealing lineup, but what now? What do those people have to say when they reach top 16?
Well, they're going to be stealing a lot of money as they move into that legend stage of the major as well. I mean, a 10-round streak to be closing this one out as well. It was absolutely dominating. I love that we see Vinny at the top of in terms of his impact in this map as well, because we know we're talking about this old guard. He's going to be going up against potentially his old teammates in Fury going to the legend stage.
That would be
I
fun.
like that.
That's why it's so fun that Imperial made it through, right? All these players have so much history in Counter-Strike. They've been playing ever since 2013 when CSGO came out. So no matter who they're going to face in the legend stage, there's a story to be told. Fallen was in Liquid, right? Maybe that's a matchup that could happen as well. That would be fun as hell to see again. So yes, I'm excited for Imperial. I'm excited to see them play through. I was worried a little bit that if they were to go through the legend stage, it would be because of a lucky draw, because of them getting lucky or something. I think with the way they played today, they're giving me the confidence that they can play competitive against some of the better teams. No, Imperial is not going to win the major. No, Imperial is not going to make to the playoff. I don't believe that. But I think they are going to remain competitive in the legend stage, and that to me is something I wouldn't have said 2 months ago.
No way. No way. You look at this team, and they were not even everybody's picks to make it through the RMR in North America. Their results in Brazil were kind of up and down, kind of shoddy here and there. But when it comes to big stages, big moments, you could see that they just have so much more experience. They have it in spades. When they are pressed up against a team that really has every reason to beat them, it's just that they hold their nerve better. They just don't make mistakes. They just know what they need to do. Everybody's so cool on that team. Everybody is, and I'm not just saying outside the server like FNX in the club. I'm saying they're really cool dudes. They're just ice cold guys.
And I have to pay a bit of respect to forZe as well. Obviously, the game we saw tonight here, it wasn't good. They fell apart completely. They couldn't hold their nerve. We saw it against outsiders as well the other day. It wasn't looking good. But up until that point, they will remain competitive. They were 2-0. They took on Vitality and almost beat them. They took on outsiders and did a good job. So for forZe to go out in this fashion, super, super disappointing. But I think they deserve some respect for getting this far.
Incredibly disappointing, but it did seem like forZe was playing worse and worse every consecutive day after that opener. I think we have one round that we can go over in which we see how forZe just didn't play like themselves today. The singular push through smoke right there from the first player in Kenzie, and then they just kind of get stuck. And you see that Imperial, they retake this space in forZe. They're just on their heels for so much of this game, so disconnected. It doesn't feel like there's any kills that are being traded. Players are getting away on the Imperial side with way more than they should in some of these situations.
When we're seeing a game like this from forZe, right, you're seeing a team that couldn't handle the pressure. We often talk about, can you hold your nerve? Can you handle the pressure? And unfortunately for forZe this time around, they couldn't. It's a good team, but today, they quite couldn't.
Well, somebody who did stay cool, calm, and collected throughout Fallen. He is joining us up here on the desk. Thank you so much for your time, Fallen. First of all, huge congratulations. What is going through your head right now, making it to the Legend stage again?
So happy. Happy because we qualified for another major as Legends. It means a lot to us, a lot to prove. It's not easy getting the team back together after so many years. FNX didn't play since 2017, basically. And, I mean, we're so happy about it.
Listen, buddy, a lot of people, including myself, when I saw this lineup come together, thought to myself, that's a cool lineup for a lot of other reasons than playing on the server. I thought to myself that it was going to be too hard. You said it yourself here. FNX hasn't played since 2017. Bolts haven't really found much success. Fur coming back into it as well. How hard has it been for you guys to rediscover the level that you're showing right now? Because I said before, the way you're playing right now, you actually deserve to be where you're at.
Yeah, I mean, it's very difficult to try to add a lot of updates into some players' mind as fast as possible.
Sure.
Because the meta changed a little bit on some regards, right? People are playing off info so much, and all those guys are playing FPL all day, and they are trading information, they're trading CS knowledge between themselves. And I mean, our players, some of them 3 years off of that. So I mean, there's a lot to catch. And at the same time, you have to understand that it's impossible to throw everything at my players, expect them to learn before they try it, right? So it's a little bit frustrating because sometimes you want things to be faster, but at the same time, you have to give time to it. You have to play some games, lose some games, you have to go through the process. And I came back to this team and came back to to creating my team again like that, just because I want to enjoy the process. And so far, it's been very pleasant.
Yeah,
I'm loving.
You qualified for the Legend States. I'm always mind blown by that. Be honest with me right here. You know, creating this team a couple of months ago, did you believe that would be possible already now, or had you your eyes set on the next major?
So the thing is, I know the kind of level we can play because of the practice. I know how good we can get. And today was a good demonstration of how good we can play. I think it's the best match we played so far. Yeah. And I'm very proud of that. But at the same time, there's so much to go through in order to get there. You don't know which kind of mental state those players are going to come for a major game like that. But I mean, those guys, they're not times major champion for no reason, right? They know what they're doing.
Sure. Fallen, I want to ask, with your lineup, we've seen a couple kind of rebuild lineups come back. Several other sort of last dances. We saw the NIP guys reassemble on Dignitas. It had some mixed results. We see what EG's doing now with some of the old Cloud9 guys, also not having the best results. But why do you guys think you were able to recapture the fire and actually get this far and make it to top 16? What goes through the minds and the accountability process of all the guys that, like you said, FNX coming back? How is he in such decent form already?
Yeah, that's exactly what people are saying when we try to come back. Like, why would you go for something that never worked? And I mean, that's what being Brazilian is. That's what overcoming all the things that people say you can't do. That's being the best version of ourselves and making the impossible coming impossible, right? So yeah, everyone was saying that bringing back old lineups will never work. We have a HLTV thread about it. It's the first time they decided to do something about that. It was about us. So yeah, I got very pissed about it when I saw it, because I was like, that's one of the biggest outlet out there, and I enjoy HLTV so much. I'm a big fan of their work since day one. You know, I haven't been there with them for so long. And they created a post about it. Like, why are they bringing a Last Dance together? And here is why.
Do you think that your lineup is more fueled by the attempt at glory or with spite?
What do I mean? Sorry?
Like with anger. Are you angry? Is anger fueling you, or do you just want to be the best again?
I mean, it's more about enjoying the pleasant of going through the process, honestly. Okay. Because when we tried to do that in 2015, it was quite the same. Like, we came from a region that had barely any chance to play against Europe and North America for so long, and we had to grind ourselves into matches, learn from every single game we played, and we made it work and became the best in the world for 2 years in a row. I'm not saying we're going to do that here, and of course that's the goal for every single team in the tournament. They want to be the best. We want to be the best too. But just enjoying the process like we did in 2015 and being able to reproduce some success, even if at this level, it already feels awesome.
Okay. Fallen, without hurting your feelings right here, I'm going to call you old because you've been around for a very long time.
I'm old.
You are old, right? Especially in this world, but you seem happy, right? You seem to enjoy the game again. I love when we're at majors. It's all about celebrating the game, celebrating the emotions. Are you more happy playing Counter-Strike now that you've been in a long time?
I'm very happy playing. It's a bit hard for me. I have a lot of back pain lately. Okay. My lower back is completely prejudiced from all the years playing. Yeah, I mean, when I started playing, we didn't have any gaming chairs. Like, we're playing on bar chairs, like, you know, those wide plastic chairs. So that's where I came from. And, you know, I never paid much attention to the way I would sit and all those things. When I started, people didn't want to even be a gamer. Like, you were just playing in cyber coffees. Your mom would be saying, hey, stop doing nothing, you know, like, go to the school and those kinds of things. And nowadays, the landscape changed a lot. But I am the guy who experienced all this. And my back is suffering a lot of pain. I have been taking meds for the last 4 or 5 days. Every time a tournament is going to start, I have a lot of pain. So I'm working to strengthen and get better physically. But yeah, the age is there. It's not easy.
All right. Well, get well soon, man.
Fallen, I want to ask about sort of the landscape change, particularly at majors as well, because you've been through so many majors yourself with your teammates as well, so many different landscapes, different formats for the majors too. How does it compare now, coming into 2022, looking at, you know, so many more teams competing in majors? Can you kind of give us a few words for that?
I love the fact that the majors are still about being very global, involving all the regions. I think that cannot change. I understand the fact that a lot of people think Europe is the strongest region, and I agree. But if we start doing only Europe, those regions never going to have a chance to really come lights up. And for example, when I was playing 2006, 2009, there was a tournament called World Cyber Games, and it was the only tournament that would give a free spot to a Brazilian team to travel internationally. And that tournament basically set up the entire year for all teams. They're all playing because of it. So for the majors, for example, if we start removing spots from places, their scenes are going to die, just like happened in Brazil. So it's very important for the majors to stay like that. It was great to play against the Mongolian team, IHC. They had so much structure on their game. It was very hard. And I mean, they play better than forZe today.
Yeah, all respect.
I mean, Fallen, just final words. FNX, 100% of the majors he's attended. So,
I mean,
again?
It's either FNX or BIT right from Navi. One of them have to keep the status.
Well, I'm really looking forward to seeing you guys going through the Legend stage. We're going to take a look at some of the results to round out the Challenger stage here at the PGL Antwerp Major. I kind of wanted to get your thoughts falling on this. Were you surprised to see Bad News Eagles taking down Imperial?
I mean, I think my BR is getting better and better with the new additions.
Yeah.
I think Shallow and Jota are very good players. I mean, they made their core very strong. Exit is a very good player too. And Wood and Turtle they're building up the team together. The fact that BIT, or BIT, the Brazilian one, came as a coach, I think is improving them strongly and fast. But I think it came out to the individual plays. And those B&E guys, like I say, they're playing FPL all day. I have played with a lot of those guys when I come to Europe. And they're good. They know what they're doing. They know their timings. They know their defensive plays. And, I mean, I think Mayberry had chances, but I'm not impressed that BNI take it.
What about your ex-team, Liquid, taking down Astralis in that fashion they did?
I met Keith Nafly before coming to this yesterday night. And I say, hey, we need to go through, man, both of us. And he was like, yeah, if you go through, I'm going to go through. And I said, but you're going to play first, so you have to win first. And then he got his win, and I was like, dude, he already did his part. Now I have to do mine. It wasn't easy. I'm very happy for them. I think I had a great time on Team Liquid, even though it was stressful at times, a lot of problems here and there, but problems are going to be everywhere. And what I took from Team Liquid was so much in terms of how they treated me and how much I had a chance to prove myself with international players. That was the first time I did it, basically, entire international team, and I'm so glad that they gave me this chance. So I love Team Liquid. I was cheering for them a lot.
Well, we can take a look at the 16 teams that are going to be gracing the stage at the Legend stage of the PGL Antwerp Major. Of course, this is where a hell of a lot more teams join the fray. Fallen, I mean, we've got so many names to be looking out for. The fact that we've got Navi joining, FaZe, Furia as well, some Brazilian rivals there. Who are you, anybody you're hoping to face? Anybody you want to be taken down?
At this point, we'll face anyone. It doesn't matter. Every single team is so hard. I mean, every single game is going to be a grind for us. Those are the best teams in the world. We're quite happy to be here. It would be fantastic to play any of them.
I always love asking the players themselves, right? Because you're on the server, you're the one practicing against these teams. Coming into the major, do you have a favorite? Do you think there's one team that is just significantly better than the rest?
I think FaZe is being able to not only have the strong firepower they have at the moment, but also being creative with some set of grenades that no one uses, some timings on smokes that the same person is throwing at the same time. So I think FaZe is a little bit on the next level regarding that. But that by itself might not win the major. Like, there's much more to win a tournament like that. They have to grow each game. You need a little bit of luck as well. It's not easy. So we'll see. I think FaZe are the favorites for sure.
This has been a contentious word lately, but do you have a dark horse that you think could maybe surprise a lot of people here?
Dark horse would be a team that
kind of like an underdog, but does have a real
not
chance.
Supposed to win, but has a real chance, right?
Yes.
Yeah. I would say, game-wise, I would say Ants. They have what it takes to win them, but I think mental-wise, they're not ready yet. So I think Ants is on this process where they are shaping themselves emotionally to be able to win tournaments like this. But game-wise, I think Ants could be winning this team.
Okay, that's cool.
Well, we can take a look at the schedule to see exactly who the teams will be facing going into day one of that Legend stage. Of course, that is going to be starting on Saturday. To start things off, we've got Heroic taking on Liquid, NIP, Vitality, FaZe, NCC Events can stand up to the big guns. Na'Vi G2, that is going to be a hella spicy one. For you, Fallen, you're going to be facing Big. How are you feeling about that?
I have been practicing last Big a lot, and they're playing well. It's going to be hard. Shout out to Big, yeah.
Anything that you want to pick out, gentlemen? Any highlight matches for you going into that Legend stage? I mean, they're kind of all highlight games in their own right.
I mean, I think the A-Stream games, with all the respect to you, Fallen, right? Heroic going up against Team Liquid, that's a banger. NIP Vitality, that's a banger. FaZe against Ents, that's a banger. Navi taking on G2, that's also a very good game. And that's the cool thing about this stage of the major, right? There's no bad teams in this stage of the major. There's only good teams. There's only good teams left. And everyone who's here, right, deserves to be here. Either they played well during the RMR and qualified directly into becoming legends, or they had to go through a very tough tournament now to get in here.
Yeah, there's no bad matches. It's going to be insane. You guys need to keep tuning in.
Sleeper game is Cloud9 Outsiders. That's a IEM Katowice
that's a slow game.
Grand Finals rematch. Of course, that was online. But
Slightly different jerseys, different colors going on there as well. I
won't even be able to recognize them.
yeah. I mean, I'm just so excited to be diving into this one. The fact that we're going to see the live likes of Na'Vi for the first time here at the Major, the likes of FaZe as well. I mean, the competition is only going to get even more banging going to this one, Pip.
It is. As I said, there's no bad teams left. There's no bad matchups. There's no one who's not deserving to be here. And I think we're going to see some more quality on the server as well. You know, during a tournament like this, the nerves have now settled. I'm sure you can attest to that as well. You now went through this process. I think the Counter-Strike you're going to be able to produce is only going to be better. You talk about growing into a tournament. I guess that's maybe an advantage for you guys as well, that you've had some time to play under these circumstances and now will be ready for it.
Oh, definitely. I think those matches that we played already shows a lot of progress for our team, even emotionally. Like, to be able to see FNX getting 4 kills like that in a pistol round. I mean, it's like I'm seeing 2016 out again. You know, like, it's insane. So, yeah, there's a lot of progress going on already.
I actually have one more question I just want to throw at you before we let you go. Me and Mao, we talked about it in the group room. The way you play right now, I almost get flashback to 2015. It feels like you're playing the old version of Counter-Strike, the old meta of Counter-Strike. Some of the setups I'm seeing overpass A long, where you have a guy by the tree and then you have a guy pushed up close. You saw the one pistol on Mirage as well, where you're baiting in CT spawn for FNX sitting on side. I'm getting flashback to some like 2015, 16 setups. Are you taking some of that old meta and trying to integrate that again into modern days Counter-Strike?
Yeah, to be honest, I think the team who did that best is Gambit. Now players, right?
Yeah.
Now Cloud9, actually. So Cloud9, those guys have been playing what we played in 2016 the entire last year. Everything I was seeing, it was so static and so perfect on all reactions that remembered me from my teams a lot. So I think they were doing it the best last year. And I mean, it's kind of our style too. So it's very interesting when we play together because it matches a lot. And we have been practicing against them, great practice partners. So yeah, I think a little Counter-Strike is like that. Sometimes you bring back some stuff from the past because it might not be working for a few years, but then because something changed, now it kind of works again, you know? So, yeah, and I mean, it's the style of the players because we have been used to play like that.
I mean, like FNX's spot at Ninja, when he just gets the 4 pistol kills there on that pistol round, I mean, that's just an old setup, too.
Yeah, basically what we said is we're going to play 2A, FNX, you pick your spot, and you're going to be debating for
he
it.
just picked the same spot he played 6 years ago.
Yeah, he chose it.
And it's the best.
One final question, Fallen. I absolutely promise. Scoring in London, they were saying, you know, you celebrated after the RMR with the champagne. Any celebrations on the cards tonight?
Last time we had champagne, it didn't go well for us because they were champagne. No champagne this time.
Well, thank you, Fallen, so much for joining us and chat with you. I'm so excited to see what you're going to be delivering in the Legends stage. Of course, we do have a day off tomorrow, but we're going to be back on Saturday with all those Legends matchups you do not want to miss out. We'll see you then.